What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Rodeo Wagon podcast. Want to thank our, sponsors, Sombrero Brands, Western Edge app, and, make sure you check out Cosmic Cowboys. They help produce this. So, what's up, Mason Moody?
Not much. Just sitting here in Great Falls.
Man, it's freaking muddy, too.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Man, it's crazy how, we were driving, and you get up in the mountains like that, and it'll be raining, and then you go down in the valleys, and just nothing, dry as a bone.
Yeah. It's crazy how nature works. I definitely don't know how it does it, but it does some stuff.
You're from Sioux Falls, so you don't quite see this extreme, probably.
No, I see farmland and lots of farmland.
Yeah, and you do get pretty cold though up there.
Oh yeah, it gets cold, way too cold, but it's what I deal with, I guess.
Yeah, and freaking this one, they had 2.5 inches of rain, within the last week or so.
Yeah, the arena definitely looks like it should be a pool right now, not a bull riding arena, but I guess we gotta go out there and do our jobs.
One thing that I wish, and I keep telling myself I'm gonna do it and I haven't, but get another rope just for this reason. Like, that way I have 2 bull ropes, and then, the long round, short round, you got a fresh rope for both rounds instead of kind of being reliant on how your bull rope comes off.
Yeah, funny you bring that up, because I had in my OGO that I was flying with to all the PBRs, I had 2 ropes, but I went to shoulder, so when I go pro rodeo in here in a couple weeks, I didn't have to drag my OGO through all the dirt, and I had 2 in that, and I was like, I don't need 2 right now in my gear bag, so I threw the one out, and right now I'm kicking myself because I really should have brought that second rope.
Keith has 3 bull ropes with him, but they're all American, and I don't ride American, so yeah. I'm not sure that I want to just dip it out, but
yeah, I guess better keep your hands shut in the short round because the rousin's not going to be helping.
One thing I've done in the past, and I've only done it once, but tape it and just ride with it taped.
Yeah, I've never rode with tape on my rope. I always put it on, like if it's raining, to help kind of keep the rain off, and then I will take it off right before I get on.
And I don't know with that, like, so the one time I did it, and this is why I haven't, but the one time I did it, I dislocated my shoulder because my hand just freaking wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And so I've just kind of been a little bit like, I don't know, rosin up that tape, and that tape's sticky, it's stuck there. But it sure would help your bull rope not come off too.
Yeah. I was at this one amateur deal one time when I was younger, and I had this guy tell me that if you use a football glove, like, for like catching football when it's raining, it still sticks like normal. You don't have to use any rosin. But I've never tried it, and I don't know if I'm ever going to try it, but something.
Yeah. The one thing I will do is I have multiple gloves.
Yeah.
So
I got 2
I'll
gloves.
use a fresh glove. I'm not going to use the same glove.
Yeah, no.
And I may not even use the glove I normally wear. I may use like a couple old ones that have pinholes in them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd do the same.
And that's one thing I've done, because the guy I get gloves from, it's like $30 for a glove. So me and Keith, we all bulk order. So it'll be a group of us. We'll go in there and order, 15, 20 gloves, and so we get them cheap. And so then I get, like, if I get a little hole in it, I'm like, oh, I'll just, break out a new one. Instead of, like in the past, I'd get Tiffany's and it'd be like $90 or something like that,
Yeah.
Or $70. I'll wear that sucker until it tears a palm out or something.
Do you use, like when you're rosining your rope, just getting it ready, do you use a holey glove for that?
I don't.
See, that's something I've been doing, because, I think that's when your gloves wear out the most, because you're getting it so hot, getting your rosin on it, and you're warming up your glove with that, that's just making it weaker. So I've been using, one of my gloves that got a little hole in it. I use that to put rosin on my rope, so I'm not wearing my good one out near as fast.
Do you put a little bit on the one you're going to use and just hit it a couple times?
No, I usually, I get it sticky with that, and then, when it still got rosin on it, I mean, it's not like that rosin disappeared from the first bull ride, and then you climb in the chute and your rosin, you're warming it up, so it gets that same stickiness. I don't know. I haven't had no problems with it, but
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of a lot of guys doing that, but I haven't done it.
Yeah.
How long do you do that from the get-go? Like with a brand new one, do you heat it up a couple times?
Oh, no. Like if I'm breaking out a brand new glove, the first few times I'll use it to rosin just to kind of break it in, get it a little sticky. Yeah, I'm not taking a brand new glove and warming it up for the first time of the bucket shoot, and it gets slicky for some reason, and be like, hey Judge, just wait, I need 5 minutes, let me go get a new glove. I'm putting you on the clock.
30 seconds, guys.
Yeah, I know.
You get off your bull, run over there, grab another one.
Yeah.
Just count it down for me. Yeah, no, I have heard of a lot of guys doing that. I haven't. I have yet to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Saves your gloves. Saves a little bit of money.
Yeah, I think, yeah, especially in the springtime and the summertime, like the preparation and going in, knowing you're making that transition to outdoor rodeos is kind of interesting because, like, I was not prepared, and I should have been because 2 weekends ago was the first outdoor rodeo, and the first day was super muddy. And so you just thought I'd learn my lesson. Instead, here we find ourselves in an Ace Hardware, for getting muck boots and,
Man, we're so dry at home, I thought it never rained. Like, I didn't know it rained anymore. I thought it was just, drought everywhere.
Yeah, we even so Colby was saying they were getting rain, but we haven't got a whole lot in northern Missouri either.
Yeah,
and I mean the grass now is just about like summertime.
Yeah, no, we got grass not even 6 inches tall burned up because it hasn't
They look
rained.
pretty green though.
It's starting to burn up. Like if you look close at the bottoms, it's like burning up.
Yeah. And
that's not good.
That's from snow.
What's that?
The green.
Yeah, the green. Yeah, we had quite a bit of snow, so it melted, went in the ground, and it grew a little bit. But since the snow melted, we've got like a ½ inch of rain all year long. So it's just not normal for where I live. But
and you do hay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We put down some alfalfa the other day, and you drive in the valleys, and you're like, man, I wish it was all like this. You drive out the hill, and I'm pretty sure the grass is shorter than the hay you're mowing. Like you're not even doing anything. But what do you do? Gotta feed the cows somehow.
Yeah, and how many? Like, what are you doing? Because you do quite a bit at the house. You were saying. So
Yeah.
What does that look like?
In the wintertime, we just pretty much feed cows and check stuff. But, that chores in the wintertime get long because, you wake up at daylight, 7:30, because you don't get daylight very early. And then you'll do chores till noon, 1 in the morning because you're feeding cows and it just takes that long. And then you might get, we do some shop projects during the day or whatever. And then you do chores again at 4 o'clock till dark, So, sitting on tractor a lot. Last few weeks we've been working calves and taking cows out to grass, so we've been working hard the last few weeks. And then now we're kind of got all the cows out, so you check them in the morning when your grass is usually too wet to do anything with. So then and then by about 11:30 you start haying, which this year it looks like our haying season is gonna be really short. But
yeah. And you do, like up in you're not doing a whole lot of farming. It's mostly ranching and haying.
We got 30 acres of farm ground, and we just all the big farmers are done planting, and we feed cows on it in the wintertime. So we kind of had to get them out to grass, and so we just dissed it and planted it like 2 days ago. So
how much are you doing on? How many cows do you got? What's your operation look like size wise?
Well, most years we got 350, 400. But it's so dry, we've already started selling some, just trying to keep the good cows, sell some of the old cows that we'd sell in the fall anyways or whatever. So, just trying to make the grass last as long as it can. And I own about 100 head of sheep. That's kind of my, that's my farm income, for helping Dad or whatever. And then Dad also has about another 150, 200 head of sheep. So
I got a wild story about sheep.
I don't want to know. I got lots of stories about sheep, but most of them don't end well.
Well, it was in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that's a good start or not.
Well, I've never been there, so let's hear it.
Me and Keith went to Saudi, okay, and so they had brought the bulls over and stuff. Well, over in the States they do sheep riding. That's a thing, know, and so over there they Dave Rice was like, hey, you want us to bring sheep, and they said, yeah, let's go for it. So get over there. They have sheep over there, so they're gonna supply the sheep. Get over, and these are like wild nomad sheep. They're like a ram sheep, freaking wild, mean. You go over to the fence and they're trying to hook you.
Rather get on the bulls than the sheep.
Yeah, I would rather get on the bulls than the sheep.
Yeah.
So finally they're like, well, this probably's not good. These kids have never even heard of sheep riding. Although I guarantee it gets pretty wild over there. Those kids growing up, camels. I'm sure you go find some wild nomad sheep. If we lived in Saudi, you'd think we would be trying to do something crazy like that.
Yeah. So our famous joke about sheep is we had a guy tell us once. He said, if you own sheep, you build a round barn because that way they ain't got a corner to die in. I mean, I don't know if that's, but it seems like sheep find a lot of reasons to die. Like you'll walk out there that night and check them, and you're like, the sheep was literally fine this morning, and it's got its head through its fence and just choked itself out and laying there dead. And you're like, oh my goodness, another one bites the dust.
I don't even know what a sheep business looks like. So what is that even? How do you make money doing that? Do you just beef them up and sell them?
Yeah, so it's pretty much cow business. I mean,
okay.
we have like cow calf operations. So we take cows, calve them out, and then feed them till feeder calves usually about 800 pounds. Then we dump them to a feedlot to fatten them out because it just takes so long to fatten calves out. But sheep kind of are the same thing. Dads are exactly like the cows. You lamb them out, we call it, and then you raise them till they're about 70 pounds, 80 pounds, and then we haul them to a sale barn, and then they go to the feedlot to get fat, and then they'll butcher them. And then I got into this business of raising rams, so like breeding the bucks or whatever, and so I keep my bucks until they're 7-8 months old because they can start like breeding stuff at 6 months because like a sheep's life is not very long. Like 5 years old, that's pretty old sheep. So like at 6 months they're grown up enough to breed ewes. So I'll keep bucks for like 6-7 months, and then I turn them around and sell them to guys that have ewes that need bucks. And that's I like it. We have some people out in the Bighorn Mountains in Wyoming that consistently buy 20 head from us, and I haven't been out there, but they talk about it, and they're funny people, but they got some good stories of talking about they get coyote problems out there, and they'll take helicopters and go shoot them and stuff. Like it's like, man, I should go out there one time when I'm rodeoing and going through there and just see how my sheep are doing, see what they
I don't know why that would be so much funner, but it's just like if you're gonna do something, like you might as well do it out of a helicopter.
Yeah, right.
Okay, you can go hog hunting. Yeah, you can go hog out in a helicopter. Yeah, definitely.
It's like us doing something or Dwayne the Rock doing something. It just makes it that much better.
I've never gone hunting out of a copter, so I don't know if it's like one of those things where you build it up in your mind. Maybe it's fun once, but but
something, do it once. That would
be cool.
I'd love to shoot some animals. Can you imagine though? Yeah, the propellers are spinning so fast. They're like, okay, you gotta aim 6 inches right of them because by the time it goes past the wind of the propellers, it's gonna be 6 inches left. So I mean, I'm sure it don't work like that, but it'd be funny.
I think Diamond G, I believe they're in Utah, and they have a rodeo. It has a really cool backdrop. Anyway, I'm pretty sure they push their cattle
with helicopters. Yeah. You see. I mean, obviously, we don't have helicopters, but I mean, you hear that kind of stuff, it's not uncommon, especially in like, could you imagine we drove through the national forest today, having cows and something like that, like you can't get horses through there, and these cows know every back way through these trees because they've been in there for 6 months, I mean, that's the only way you're getting them out, and that's kind of, that's why they use a lot of helicopters because they're on the mountains. Well, them sheep are born, that's how they're pretty much bred to be out there, and so horses really can't go out there, so that's they have to use helicopters because that's pretty much the only way they can get to them.
My question with that is like cost efficiency here, like you must really love it.
You must really love sheep to have them, let me tell you. Like I said, they're frustrating animals sometimes, but I think it's kind of like kids, you pretty much at birth you're helping them drink from the mom, you watch them grow up from the time they're babies to the time they're leaving for college pretty much. That's kind of it's something that farming's not a money maker like most people think. Farming is, or ranching, farming, it's a business for the lifestyle. It's kind of like us, like we don't do it because we're getting filthy rich at it. No, we do it because there's something about it that makes us wake up every day and want to help these animals.
Yeah, we're not making billions of dollars.
No, it's something that you love doing. It's not something that you just do for money like most people's jobs.
Yeah, for sure. And so you also buck bulls, you have that little arena in there. Do you use any of your sheep for like kids coming up, or is it just strictly on the business side?
No, just strictly on the business side. I mean, once in a while, if there's a local kid that might be like, hey, I want to ride a sheep or whatever, we might, we got a roping arena too, because when I grew up roping and stuff, but, so we might run a sheep in there and let him, fall off, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, we're not like, hey, we got a bunch of sheep, let's go have a sheep riding, Oh, it's $5 entry for the gate, oh, we got a big crowd of 100 people, no.
I don't think you could fit 100 people in your arena.
Oh, no, probably not.
That is the perfect little practice pen, though.
Yeah, it works good. That's bull riding is kind of a dying sport, especially in South Dakota. I mean, you look at it 10 years ago when my sisters were rodeoing, we had 15 guys in each region. High school rodeo, we had 4 regions, so like our region had like 10, 15 guys. And my freshman year, we had 3. It was me and 2 other guys. And I was very fortunate that my family helped me out to become a very good bull rider. But a lot of people don't have that. They'd go to these rodeos and get slammed, and then wonder why we don't have any bull riders. Well, nobody helps these kids out. So, that's kind of what me and my dad have done the past couple of years. We had the barn, I had my practice bulls around when I was in high school and stuff. So, we'd let kids come out, and then, I started getting some better bulls, obviously for myself, but we still kept a lot of them weaker bulls around, just trying to help the youth, because, I mean, I'm not no world champion, that's for sure. I mean, that's the goal, but I mean, a lot of these kids do kind of look up to me, they're like, if he can do it, I can do it, so, it's just giving these kids something to do and, mature in. That's a biggest thing about rodeo is, how many rodeo people do you know that are, people that you're like, oh, I don't like him because he's a jerk. Rodeo people are the nicest people you're ever going to meet. And, if you grow up in this atmosphere, you're going to grow up to be, at least trustworthy and, be around people and people respect you.
It's one of those things, for me, coming in late, starting at about 18, I noticed that even from the get-go, even coming completely outside of the system, completely.
Yeah.
Everybody just taking you in.
Yeah.
And kind of that honesty and stuff. So there's not a whole lot of guys in kind of your part. So your dad, did he ride? What was that process of kind of getting you started?
No, my dad was a boxer. So,
really?
Yeah, he like in college was a boxer. He actually was really good. He didn't ever become professional, but he I don't know how it exactly works, but he don't like talking about boxing because I don't know why, but he's kind of a wild child in those days. But his buddies are always like, yeah, he went to Minneapolis 3 times to fight, and if he would have won these tournaments, he would have went to big professional fights. And they say that there's these 2 brothers from the Twin Cities over there, and they said it didn't matter which one he faced first, he'd always beat him, but they'd play him out so bad that by the second match that weekend or whatever, he'd be so burned out that they'd always get him beat or whatever. But going back to rodeo, no, my sisters rodeoed. I mean, my grandpa raced some horses, and we grew up ranching and stuff, so we're cowboying's kind of in our blood, I guess. But I don't know if you ever heard of Jill Moody. She made it to the NFR in the barrel racing lots of times. I think she won the world even. She was married to our third uncle, not very close, but they live 5 miles down the road. They have a big roping arena and indoor and stuff. So I mean, rodeo's been there, and my sisters got rodeoing, and then when I was 4 years old behind the buck and shoots, that's my parents would always tell people, yeah, I don't know where Mason's at, but he'll show up when the bull riding's over. I mean, bull riding's always been in my blood. And then I had an uncle that high school rodeoed, and he kind of helped me build my first buck and shoot, helped me on calves and stuff. And then there's this guy, Charlie Zoss. He got second at Cheyenne twice. He was really good, but he kind of like me, had some stuff at home and couldn't just leave and go rodeo all the time. So he did really well. If you go look on Pro Bull Stats, the highest the average ride percentage, he's like 35th in the highest ride percentage. I don't remember exactly what it is, but like he's way up there in that list. And so like he was the one that really, you know, once I started getting on bulls, that kind of took me under his wing and was like, this is, you know, this is how you do it, you know, or whatever. And you know, now I mean, now I've been around it so much that I mean I know what I'm doing wrong, you know. That's, you know, people are, you know, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I mean, yeah, I could be doing this wrong, I could be doing that wrong, but deep down, I know what I'm doing wrong more than anyone else is, because I feel it, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like when I was 15 and had no clue what was going on. I was just getting on, and you know.
And I think so much of that too. You said feel it. Like so much of this sport that I've learned, there's so much of it that's feel, to the point where sometimes it can look one way, and what that person may be saying may be true, but the feeling, you know, if you try to correct that in the way they're saying it, that feeling won't match up.
Yeah.
And it's really finding that feeling. That's really what you're after, because I mean, getting on the back of bulls, it's all about timing and feel.
Yeah, and I mean that's the biggest thing with our sport is feel. I mean, that's, everyone says the more bulls you get on, the better you're gonna be, and that's 100% right, because every bull feels different, but every bull feels the same in a different way.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
So the more bulls you get on, the better you're gonna get. Now, yes, there's some guys that are just naturally built for the sport that figure it out way faster than others, and there's some guys that it takes to be 25, 26 years old to, you know, get that light switch quick, and then they get hot fast, you know. And so sport is, it's definitely something that not everyone can understand until you feel it.
Hey there, folks. I want to tell you about my favorite cowboy hat brand, Sombrero Brands. As a professional bull rider, I know how important it is to have a hat that not only looks good, but can withstand the toughest rides out there. And that's exactly what Sombrero Brands delivers. Their hats are custom fitted and shaped to perfection, with a level of attention to detail that's hard to find these days. But what really sets Sombrero Brands apart is the fact that they're a family-owned and operated business. Mark and Kendall Holler, the owners, and their daughter Sarah, who's only 13 but already a hat-making prodigy, are all passionate about their craft. They know what it takes to make a cowboy hat that can stand up to anything the rodeo circuit can throw at it. And get this, the founder's grandfather, Polly Holler, was born and raised at South Camp on the 4-6's ranch. These folks have got cowboy blood running through their veins, and it shows in every hat they make. That's why I'm proud to have Sombrero Brands as a major sponsor for my podcast, the Rodeo Wagon Podcast. So if you're in the market for a hat that's tough enough to handle anything the rodeo throws at it, give Sombrero Brands a try. Trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, it's definitely, and everybody wants to tell you. It's one of those things too. Everybody wants to tell you, and the higher up you get, the less that you really can take. If you're going with people, there's people that have been there and done that, you know, and then there's your traveling partners who you kind of start getting a grasp a little bit of what they're feeling just by watching them and being with them and hearing them communicate it, you know, daily, just talking about bull riding.
You know,
so you can kind of, you know, grapple with some of those things, but there's so much noise, you know, everybody's going to try to tell you.
Yeah, and that's, you know, when I was roping, we went to this team roping practice, I don't know, but I went with this guy one time, like the first time, and he's like, okay, you take what everyone tells you, you give it a shot once or twice, and if you don't like it for yourself, you don't use it, you know. And that's exactly how the sport is, you know. Just last night, me and Colby Anderson were talking about, you know, what went wrong or whatever, and, you know, you try something once or twice, you know, maybe not even here, you know, say we're at a PBR tonight, like we were saying last night, you know, and tonight you don't want to change your mojo up, you know.
Right.
Okay, so, you know, go to the practice pen this week, you know, and then try it, you know, try it once or twice, see what happens, you know. And if it don't work for you, it don't work for you, you know. I mean, you can look at Jose and Jess Lockwood and Kaiki and Silvano Alves. I mean, that's your world champions the last how many years, and they don't ride the same. Yeah, they ride the same in similar ways, but they don't ride the same, you know. I mean, Kaiki and Jose, you know, your two Brazilians, they don't ride the same at all.
At all.
No, not at all. And and they both their styles work for them, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Cody Teal, you know, one of the tallest guys in the locker room, you know. He don't ride like hardly anyone, just because he's not built like us.
Very, very unique.
So you gotta take what they say, especially if it's someone trusted. He's been there. Like you're saying, your traveling partners. Somebody that's been there, done that, and take it, try it. If you think it might work, use it. If you think no, this isn't for me, then throw it in the trash and try to fix something else. That's all you can do in our sport. Is you get on, do something. If it don't work, throw it away and pick your head up and go to the next one.
I think the practice pins are great. For me, I don't like to change stuff just like mid-stride.
Yep.
Some equipment stuff I will. Like I got more turned in spurs, and just as I could start kneeing up more, and it helped tremendously. I started getting a hold better. That I did without anything.
Yep.
I just did it mid-stride. That kind of stuff, not so much. If it has anything to do with form, I prefer to do it in a practice pin.
Yeah, especially at the level that we're at, you have to do it in practice pin. I can tell you everything that bull did. I can tell you what happened in that bull ride 100%. But for me to be able to be like, okay, this bull's going so slow, I can, sit on top of him and be like, okay, I need to do this different. I need to do this different. No, these bulls are going so fast that you can't do that.
That's a big thing. I don't know how much people really understand. Really good bulls, you don't sink.
No.
This is a reaction sport. It's anticipated reaction. So you work on stuff. But when you get in the chute, once that gate opens and you leave, you're reacting. And that preparation is what kind of separates you and allows you to react and make the right moves and the feel. So, for me, I get on the buck ride a lot. Riding horses kind of helps balance that feel out, and then just getting on bulls, going every weekend, going hard. You kind of combine the mechanics of it with the feel of it.
Yeah.
But practice bulls, you can actually think on.
Yeah, and that's. I've got all types of bulls at the house right now. I got some bulls that can be 86 points on in the practice pen, and those are the ones I usually get on because this weekend that's what I'm going to get on.
Right, sure.
But there's been times where I've struggled. I've hit slumps where I've fallen off 7 in a row, and I went back to my high school bulls because it's not that I can't ride these bulls because I've proved it to everyone. I proved it to myself most importantly. But at the end of the day, sometimes you need to go back and just get one under your belt, remember what it feels like. And then fix something that you're doing wrong. Okay, now I just went and got on a 68 point bull, but I fixed what I did wrong. So now I'm going to go get on this 83 point bull in the practice house, at the practice pen, and then I it's still fast enough where you can't just sit up there and think like I was before, but it's still a little bit slower than it is here, so I can be like, oh yeah, halfway through this ride it kind of, when it starts to slow down even just a tick more, then I can be like, oh yeah, I need to do this better. Okay, now I go to the bull riding this weekend and it's moving so fast I have no clue what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing, but like I ain't controlling it. My brain's not controlling it, my body is.
Yeah.
And and then but you go look at that video and you're like, man, I did do that a little bit better. Man, I did, it improved. Now this week I go back to the practice pen and do it again. And I'm not saying I think this sport's the most humbling sport in the world though. I can just like I won 2 back-to-back events this year, and then I pulled a groin, not 2 weeks later, and fell off like 6 or 7 straight, and I couldn't get on practice bulls because by Tuesday I was still struggling to walk. I was so close to velocity finals. I was so far up there. I'm like, I'm not taking 3 weeks off to heal this, but in reality I probably should have, and I would have came back faster than I would have because I fought it for 6 weeks now, and and finally got it feeling good now. But for 6 weeks I was couldn't hardly walk on Tuesday, and by Friday night I was getting on 87 pointers again. So,
and that's the challenge, I believe, with this short season.
Yeah,
it's pretty much everybody. That's the challenge. If that would have happened during a long season, you'd have taken that time off.
Yeah, and
100% you would have.
Yeah, and you could. I could have probably even quit till summer, till now, and not quit, but sat home for a month, I'd have been far enough ahead where, I wouldn't have been in third place anymore, don't get me wrong, but I would have been able to take a month off and
Right.
come back, still be top 10 probably, and then I would have been able to be beating everybody, because not only is my groin healthy, so is everything else on my body, so I'd been clicking, and would have been able to get on practice pools, where instead I was trying to milk it out as long as I could, and it just didn't work out the best for me.
Yeah.
But hindsight's 19 at 20, because it ain't right either.
Yeah, no joke. Yeah, because I mean, you look back at certain things, and it's like, well, heck, maybe I did the right thing. You really don't know.
Yeah.
The groins are the hard. That's one of the touchy. It's groins and heads. Those are the two big things. You especially with PBR, their concussion protocol.
Yeah.
They actually put you through the ringer doing that, so you really need to kind of
Take care of
it.
We should.
And then as you should. And then groins, they just linger, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can't stretch them. They just have to heal.
And like sportsman told me, well, you're not gonna 90%. You're not gonna hurt it anymore, because the damage is done. But it's gonna take you a month to heal it, because that's how long they take.
Right.
And I just made it 8 weeks instead of a month, because
and luckily it's just like a groin. I went, when I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus. They told me there's a very, very high percentage that you will not be able to compete, with this knee injury. And I rode for about a year, and it was pretty bad. Like I really struggled. My riding took a huge hit, and it finally got to the point where I'm like, this isn't me riding. This is I'm compromised. Yeah. I need to get it fixed. Got it fixed. Came back, rode everything. Coming into the year, I went to just amateur stuff by the house. Bucked off one bull, rode everything, and I was like, wow. If I would have just done that sooner, it would have I'd rode more bulls, won more money, and I wouldn't have lost 4 months. It was only 4 months. I thought it was going to be 6 months. So I was actually kind of stoked when Tandy told me that.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing with injuries. Like when I say groin, yes, your groin is, you're squeezing muscle, but I noticed it more with how fast my feet were. Like I couldn't throw my feet down. If a bull popped my, blew a foot, I used to be fast enough to where I could chuck that baby back down before that bull hit down, and I was right back in the middle. Where when I had that groin really bother me, you could just see I wasn't as fast, and it wanted me to get sat on my pockets, and that foot was just tick late, and then I was right back to where I was instead of fixing the problem. So there's some stuff that, like, when we get injured, you think you're doing all right, but that's the little stuff that you don't even see that's killing us.
And I think it's the better bulls. If you run a 80 pointer in there,
yeah, I would have got by.
You get by, and then when you're trying to make that next level and you're trying to ride them good bulls, that's where they really expose those injuries a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. If I would have, I could have went to some amateur shows probably, and still won a couple grand here, a couple grand there. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be an amateur bull rider. I wanted to make world finals, and the only way to make world final is to keep going and get a few more points. And yeah, I got like 5th in velocity standings.
There's a big difference there in what that looks like, and those transitions. I didn't even figure it out until the end of the year. Away from my hand, I had it, and then right there at the end of the year, found some stuff out, and kind of getting my hips underneath my bull rope into my hand. Game changer. It was just like just a switch went off. I'm like, Yep. But on amateur bulls, wouldn't have even known that. I would have rode everything 100%. It was really just a small thing leaving the chutes that completely changed me riding bulls into my hand. Now you put me on a bull, I'm very confident. You put me on a bull I can go 90 on into my hand, I'm going to go 90 on him into my hand.
Yeah. And, the biggest thing about, coming to this level, we, especially like us young kids, like me and Colby, when we first come in, it's hard. It's really hard, just like we were saying, you're going from amateur bulls that you might be 86 points on, but if you went to a PBR and you would been at 78 points, and which when you're going to them, you're like, these bulls can't be that much better. You're better than, we're better than everyone else when we come to this level.
Right.
Well, then you come here and you draw a couple that don't fit you right, or you just buck off at the whistle or whatever. Well, then you instantly start fighting your head because one, you've never been in a rut like this. Because I was always, I don't want to say I was always good, but I was always very competitive, and you come up here and these people are just as good as you. Everyone here deserves to win in all reality, and then you're young, you know no one. Like when you first come on tour, back home at the amateur rodeos, I knew everyone. When you're in, bucked off too, everyone still came and talked to you. You sit in the locker room for the first 3 events when you're first coming on tour, you don't talk to no one. You're half gun shy because holy cow, there's Jesse Petrie sitting right there, holy cow, there's Kyle Jones sitting right there that I've seen on TV before, and then like this year I went to the UTBs and it was the same deal, I know these guys, don't get me wrong, I knew who they are, but I'm not gonna go, say, what's up, Dalen, you want to come sit by me today, you go find that spot in the corner where they do their thing and you kind of sit there like, yeah, I'm here, and then you go buck off 1 or 2, going, it's a little bit better pool up there. They are, and so you buck off 1 or 2, and it's the same thing. You're fighting your head again because my Velocity Tour buddies are, most of them are still down at the Velocity Tours, so I didn't know no one up here, so you're kind of sitting there, fighting your own self, and then you go to the hotel that you're in by yourself because I didn't text Cooper and Dalen, you want to share a room this weekend, where at a Velocity Tour you're always sharing a room with somebody, so it's just, this sport's very humbling. At the end of the day, it's humbling, and it throws you the wrenches a lot, even though you think you're starting to get it figured out.
Yeah, that's even like, so when I first came up, it was Mason Lowe, right? So Mason had just got on tour, and then I kind of would go up there, every now and again. Should have been before my string of injuries, 2017, and then kind of having that comfortability of knowing somebody. But me and Casey Coulter were talking about it. There's a few guys in Missouri though that it's almost like, at the point now where I think a lot of guys coming up, if you're in our area, if you go up,
someone.
Bob, you know Colton Hevlow. At that time you knew Mason Lowe, Casey, Coulter, he's up and down,
I had Triplet.
And
I had Triplet, but he was on the UTBs all the time.
Right.
So like he told me how to enter them and how to book flights and stuff, but he wasn't there sitting in the locker room.
And the Velocities, you probably didn't know anybody.
I didn't know nobody.
Yeah.
The first person I ever talked to, I'm pretty sure, not talked to, but like actually sat down and had a conversation with was Rubens Barbosa. I think he knew that I was a shy kid in the corner, which I'm not really that shy, but at that point in my life, I was like, oh God, But Rubens came over to me and just sat by me. It was like, what up? Just sat down and talked, and and then I was in the whole gun shy. Holy cow, that's Rubens Barbosa. He just went 93 points at the World Finals. It's like, jeepers, how am I gonna, live up to him? And I got to ride good so I could prove something to him. And he's just another human.
For me, it's gotten to the point now where if I go to some of those amateur deals by the house, I don't know anybody.
Yeah,
it's like the opposite. I'm like, man, like when I first started, like I knew
that
everybody.
That was my homies. Yeah.
Now my homies are either not riding, they're going to PBRs or PRCAs.
Yeah.
And
so all right, go to that. So I went to, we hauled some bulls like pretty much a high school rodeo last weekend, and I graduated high school last year, but it was, there's very few faces that I know, like there's some, I can name a few of my better pals that were a year younger than me, but it's like, man, just like that, I'm old, like I don't know nobody at this thing, I'm sitting here talking to the parents of these kids because they're, they had older kids, so I'm talking to these 50-year-old people, and it's like, holy cow, I don't know any of these people, and I graduated last year,
That's wild. That's funny. And you've been going to all the velocities and everything, UTBs
Yeah,
this year. So
well, last year I was going to all the velocities and still going to high school.
still going to high school.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Had
When I started when I was in high school, and
yeah.
I remember winning my first check in high school, and they asked me how much I made. I was like, it's like $100. It was a little amateur deal, and I thought I was big stuff. I made money.
Yeah. But yeah, last year I had 2 high school classes, and I think I was going.
Did you homeschool?
No, I went to actual school.
Okay.
But I kind of figured it was coming to this kind of. I mean, I rode good when I was a junior and stuff.
This is what you were gonna do.
So like when I was a freshman, I took all the classes I could, and then sophomore and junior year, I doubled up on took 2 math classes one year and 2 English classes one year. So last year all I had was I think history or U.S. government, and then an ag class. And I shouldn't say this, but the ag teacher liked me, so I'd show up for 10 minutes when I was there, and he told me to go home because you're a troublemaker. And I kind of was in his class because I don't sit still the best. I got half ADHD, I think, but I mean
that's funny. Of course, I didn't see it when I started high school. Rodeo was so far out of nobody would have even believed it if you'd have said it. So but I didn't want to go to school more, so I couldn't imagine trying to get my schooling done early.
Yeah.
I didn't even know if that was an option at that point.
Well, it really kind of sucked. My mom was a school teacher at my school, so she kind of made sure I had
accountability.
Good grades. I had good grades, otherwise I couldn't go watch the PBR World Finals. You know, like you better get an A on that spelling test. Mom, I can't spell at all. Well, you better study. Gosh dang it, I gotta study this time for this spelling test and then do well on the spelling test. And they're like, well, you can do that every week. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to do that every week. So
Heck yeah. Man, I think Keith is getting itching. It's 4 o'clock, so it starts at 6 tonight. So, guys, Mason Moody, what's your handles on Facebook, Instagram?
Mason Moody, PBR rider, bull rider. I don't remember.
Just
on Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram, Mason Moody.
Yeah.
You'll find it.
Yeah, if there's a picture of a bull rider, it's probably it.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you check out our app, Western Edge app. Check out Sombrero Brands cowboy hats. And as always, make sure you check out Cosmic Cowboy Productions. They're the ones that help put this together, make it as cool as it is. We're just a bunch of bums living on the road, podcasting out of the back of a van. We're sleeping in at night and grilling out behind the arena.
Memories.
Yeah, we're living life. So, heck yeah, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.
See ya.